And we've made it to Dorney Lake once more for another day. We're talking about, is a 16-minute 5k similar or the same or harder or easier than a 6-minute 2k? But first things first, we've got to go get changed, go get ready to go in the water. Ollie, are you ready for a great day?
I suppose so, yeah.
Great. So let's get to it. And we've made it into the crew room. We've got tinfoil for breakfast. Oh yeah, and then we're going to discuss and then we're going to talk about the 16-minute 5k versus a 6-minute 2k. A bunch of the guys have very varying opinions, so hopefully some good conversatory banter. All right, let's get to it. And we're going to discuss now 16-minute 5k versus a 6-minute 2k. Those two numbers seem to be the sort of, what would you call it, Robson?
They're like the cut-offs for GB rowing.
But they're not. They're almost a cut for the benchmarks. That's the word we're looking for. Thank you, George. Benchmarks for sort of a heavyweight man on their 5k and on their 2k. But everyone seems to think that one is harder than the other. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we're going to see what everyone else thinks as well. Barney, would you like to start off the conversation?
I can start if you like.
Okay, Barney. 16-minute 5k versus 6-minute 2k. What do you think is harder?
Definitely the 5k.
Why?
Well, it's mostly a personal thing. One, it's 16 minutes. It's like
Science.
obviously, right? It's almost 3 times as long.
Fair.
Okay? And you've got to sort of sit on a pace and hold it for that long. Sounds obvious, but
Need a lot of focus.
yeah,
a lot more.
you can easily lose focus. You can easily make a mistake halfway through or something and never come back from it. It's a mental game basically. Whereas 2k you can almost get on. You're going to do a good score if you prep well. Whereas 5k can still go wrong even if you're feeling confident. That's why.
Fair enough. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but makes a lot of sense. George? 16-minute 5k versus 6-minute 2k.
I used to always think the 5k was way harder because I went sub 6 long before I went sub 16. But now I cannot do the sub 6, but I can do the sub 16. So I think if your training is based, endurance, mostly endurance, I think the 5k is achievable ahead of the 2k. But it does depend on what you're doing, really.
Like what prep and what training you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would agree with George and Barney there. We've got Robson here as well from the Learn to Rope here. Robson, your opinion on the matter?
I think I would say, I'd say the sub 16 is harder, but I feel like once you get through it and once you've managed to do it, it's easier to take. Obviously, because it's longer, you can take bigger chunks off it. And actually, I'd say the discrepancy is much bigger when you do get underneath there. So like, you get guys who are able to go close to 15 minutes, and they're able to take big chunks out of their scores and get massive PBs year on year, whereas you spend ages training and getting a tiny PB on your 2k.
Interesting. Would that tie into what George was saying about like specific training? Or is that just like what you said, just the
Yeah, I think the other thing is that people spend a lot more time doing 2Ks and you get a lot more sort of conditioned to doing them, a lot sort of high rate stuff, and I think there are fewer programs that target a 5K as much as a 2K.
And we've got a couple more people as well. We've got resident ergman, Callum McBriarty. He has the fastest ergs in the club at the moment. Callum, what's your opinion of the 5K versus 2K?
I think a lot of it depends on the individual. Depends what kind of athlete you are. Certainly myself, I was a very endurance-based athlete, so I think I got 16 minutes before, like 18 months before I broke 6. So I would definitely say 16 minutes is easier than 6 minutes. But I know that I am a very endurance-based athlete, whereas the more strength-based athletes would probably go under 6 minutes well before they go under 16, maybe not even go under 16 in their life. So I mean, obviously, as Robson said, it does depend on your training program and what you're following. But I think it's very individual. But for me personally, 60 minutes is a lot easier than going under 6.
And there seems to be a theme coming out around the 60-minute 5K and the 60-minute 2K about the individual and the types of training you're doing. We've got one last person, Ollie Dix. A bit different, so he's in the sculling squad here at Leander Club. Maybe a different opinion or something different. I don't know. Let's see.
Ollie? Quite a lot's already been said. I think the 2K can be seen as easier because it's quite short. And there's more. I think, like Callum said, if you put a bit of strength in there, there's more chance of you getting under there. Whereas a 16, I think anyone can feel quite good going to halfway, but that 3 to 4K can be a bit of a pain in the arse sometimes, and where a lot of the 5K goes wrong. And so I think that's you might have the endurance training, but you might not have that threshold training in the 5K.
What I would say is that when a 5K goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. Wrong in a big way. Like in a 2K, if you blow, you can usually hold it, and you don't but when it goes badly in a 5K, I've been in a situation where I've been in an absolute hole 3K from the end, and there's no way of coming out.
It feels because in a 2K you can feel good for like a minute, and then you've only got you're already a 6 of the way in, but you feel good a minute. On a 5K, you've still got a 15 left.
Over 4.5K to go. You're like, oh no.
So I think does anyone else have anything to say relating to the 5:15?
You've all been said.
Whitney, would you like your opinion to be said?
Love to.
As a coxswain?
I definitely have an opinion on this. So I show up with the popcorn and watch it all unfold. Either way, it's actually. I mean, the other guys have pretty much said everything effort-wise, but I think it's very exciting to actually watch the 2Ks because they can go south very quickly. But it's so can a 5K. But when you guys do them correctly, it's also really exciting. So I don't know effort-wise what you guys think would be easier, but I know entertainment-wise, pretty much anything goes. So we show up and kind of see who paces and who throws down and who totally blows the doors open and doesn't last. So
I think the rhythm is a big thing. Like you can be in a good rhythm in a 5K, and the blow can almost sneak up on you because you're in. Whereas like in a 2K, you pretty much know it's coming straight away. So that rhythm is quite important for a 5K and getting it right.
So would you say a 5K is the prep is a lot more important?
Yeah, I think it's important to do more of the longer pieces. Whereas with the 2K, you can probably get away with doing like your 500 prep, and that would be enough. But,
So that will be it for today's discussion, the 16-minute 5K versus the 6-minute 2K, which is harder. Let us know in the comments below. After hearing you guys' opinions here, I would say for me, so when I started rowing, I was doing 6Ks, and my 5K within the 6K was under 16 anyway. But I also was under 6. Not by much though. So I would say it's very similar for me, but like everyone's saying, it's very individual. And so for like Callum and I and Robson, we're bigger athletes, so it's easier for us to go under those numbers anyway. And for perhaps George, who is a little smaller, but just as powerful. It isn't necessarily as easy to hit either one. So that'll be it for that conversation. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and let us know in the comments below if you want any other topics discussed, whether it's a sort of versus comparison or some other thing that we may be able to give our opinion on. But now we're going to get on with the rest of the day and continue fueling up, continue recovering for the next session. We've got much more prep for trials coming up in the Learn to Row pair. So let's get to it. Yep. made it back to the club after a little bit of piecesing on the water. More prep as it goes along with the 4 trials coming up in less than a couple of weeks. Coming up week on Saturday now, I think. So that'll be keeping on progressing as we keep on pushing on. But now it's time to go get some more food, because remember, food is fuel. And that will be it for today's episode. Little bit of a short one discussing the differences, or what is more difficult, a 60-minute 5k or a 6-minute 2k. But I want to make it sort of a regular thing of maybe a versus, or maybe like a topic Tuesday or something along those lines. Let me know in the comments below what you think of that. But now it's time to get some food, because food is fuel. And as always, Yam Squad, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and have a good one.